Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From what I see in this masala, this is the view that I hold, and this is the view of Ibn Jibreen and others from the ulama, which is that if a person has paid into insurance, he can claim back the insurance money because that was taken from him from an un-Islamic manner. And this is the opinion of Uthaymeen and others. So now what you pay in, you get back. So if you paid for car insurance, £500, and you're making a claim, you claim that £500 back because that is your entitled money, and the only reason why you gave them the £500 in the first place is so that you don't do anything which is illegal. So you are getting what you get back. You're getting returned to you what you paid back, or what you paid in the first place, I say. Now the issue is that if you are covered and somebody else is at fault, then you can claim compensation from that person who has wronged you. And this is in line with the Sharia. So Allah protect you, akramakullah wa jallakum, is that if a person was to, hit you from the back of your car, not only are you now entitled to the money that you gave in the first place, which was taken from you in a haram manner in paying car insurance or whatever insurance it is, but car insurance in this regard, but at the same time you've lost out, and someone needs to compensate for that. And perhaps you've got an injury and you can't go to work, etc. So Ibn Jibreen rahimahullah was of the view that you can claim that money from the person who wronged you mistakenly. I mean, it happened, it's an accident, but somebody has to take responsibility for it. So now the Sharia says, and this is legitimately what would happen in the Sharia, say somebody wronged you in the Sharia, the Qadi will then say, well, you have to pay and cover the costs. And if there's compensation due to the fact that he's missed out on work or has affected his performance, and then that's affected his risk coming in, etc., you have to cover that because you are at fault and there was ifrat and tafrit on your behalf, meaning there was transgression and lenience and negligence, and you didn't cover all of those bounds. So maybe you are transgressing the speed limit. You were negligent in the sense that you weren't wearing a seatbelt, so then that person had a altercation and you were responsible for that. So that all of those things are taken into consideration. Compensation is paid by the person who has wronged the other person. Then you can claim that back from the insurance company. Why? Because the insurance company are going to get that from the person who has wronged you, and you're just taking it through the insurance. So you're going to get back your capital perhaps, and then you're going to get compensation on top of that, but you're not paying money for that. That is different because you're claiming compensation from the third party, so that because the insurance company is not going to pay out, they're going to pay out, but they're going to make him pay for it. So the fact that he's really paying for it because of the mistake that he has made. In that scenario, you are allowed to claim on insurance, and this is the view that I think is closer to the correct view. Others from the ulama have said no, you're not allowed to seek compensation. You are only allowed to get back what you put in and have your capital returned to you. Allah says in the event of riba, if a person gets involved in a riba-based transaction, Allah says, فَلَكُمْ رُؤُوسِ أَمْوَالِكُمْ لَا تَظْلِمُونَ وَلَا تُظْلَمُونَ. You can have your capital sums back. You will not be oppressed, and you will not be oppressing other people and taking your capital sums back, but you can't take anything more. With that, some of the ulama have gone with saying that, yeah, you can take your capital back, the money that you invested, which was rightfully yours from the first place, but you can't take anything extra. But I lean towards the view, like I said, of some of the ulama, where they have said you can claim compensation because that's got nothing to do with insurance now. That's got to do with the fact that that person has wronged you and he's paying up through the insurance company. And we also know that if a person has his haqq given to him and his mu'amala and his transaction between him, A and B, is permissible, even though it's come from C and it's perhaps questionable, as long as the transaction between A and B is halal, and it's permissible for B to benefit from A. However, in the case of COVID, what has anyone done wrong? Unless if a person can then ascertain that the government have done something wrong and I am taking them to court, and because of their decision, my livelihood or something like that has, been affected. So I want to claim that through my insurance somehow. I don't know. So then he'll get his capital sums back, perhaps, and then he'll get compensation for the fact that there was negligence, ifrat or tafrit. It could be them transgressing, and because of that, he has suffered. In that situation, I can see a person claiming, but I mean, besides that, this is, as you would say, qadar Allah, akhi. This is from the act of God, is what they would say also in the insurance document. They do not cover acts of God. So if, for example, you've got a container and you're a businessman, and it gets lost on their and they are responsible for that, fair enough, they'll pay for that. But if it's taken away by a tornado or something like that, then they will not cover that, perhaps. Therefore, I would say that in this scenario, if you can claim and get your capital back, then do that, because that is your haqq. But can you take anything beyond that? No, because Islamically, you cannot you cannot seek compensation for somebody who has not wronged you. And if a person was to say, well, I think the government need to pay me compensation when they haven't really done anything wrong, and what they're going to compensate you with, and how are they going to measure that, all of that. Wallahi, I think even though that they are engaged in riba, and even though they might be even giving out these compensation, I don't know if it's a grant or compensation payment, some sort, or something like that, then that's not allowed for a person to benefit. Unless if it is an outright grant, where the government says, look, with the way that we feel that we're going to support you is by giving you and your business or something like that a grant, and we are sincerely giving you this money to help you, then that's different. That's different. But for a person to seek compensation because of a loss of earnings from a person who hasn't done anything wrong to him, I would say that that is not allowed. And it could also be seen as a form of dhulm against that person. And really, these issues need to go back to the ulama. And this is why I would understand from this mas'ala myself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us with tawfiq and success, and to bless us in everything that He gives us, large of it and the little of it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.